I'm Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of today's newsletter is going to be Mastering the Art of Letting Go. I've got 3 emails I'm going to go through with you today. And the first email is from a guy from the United Kingdom who he says after watching all my videos on how to discover your purpose that he decided to join the British, he's from the UK obviously, the British Infantry Reserves. And he's getting a lot of unsupportive pushback from his friends and his family, which obviously he's not happy about. So he asked my opinion on how to deal with people who are not supportive. So obviously he's still a little attached to and worried about what other people think about him and his choices. The second email is from a guy who he said he's read my book twice, and one of the things he's struggling with, he's like, well, what is love really? Because if you do your best and you focus on getting a woman to fall in love with you and then she leaves you for some other dude, then what does that mean? Is love really a real thing? Because obviously he's attached to and worried about getting involved with somebody, which you can kind of see from his email is kind of a limiting belief that he's fearful and he's worried about, well, what happens if she leaves me? And the third email is from a guy who's been following me for about 2 years. And he, like most people, probably 90% of the people that find me, he was trying to fix a relationship that was going sideways. And he's got a really great success story. And as I've said many times, the best success stories are always from the guys that read the book 10, 15 times. He says he's read the book 14 times now, and he's actually currently on his 15th read. He's got a new job, new attitude. He's got himself in great shape. Got a new car, new place, lost his virginity, and he has women that are pursuing him, and he's living his life the way he wants. And he's done a really great job of mastering the art of letting go. So the first 2 emails are a couple guys that are struggling with that, worried about what may or may not happen in the future, and they're having a difficult time being in the present moment, and they're suffering because of that. Because obviously, as you've been following me for a while, you've heard me say many times that when we don't accept reality as it is, we're going to suffer. So you really see a good mix here of 2 guys that are struggling. They're attached to the way they think things should be or the way they want the world to be, and it's causing them to suffer, and it's inhibiting them moving forward and being in the present moment and being happy and just enjoying their journey. And you got a third guy who is doing it. But again, third guy, read the book 14, he's on his 15th read, and that's why he's doing so well, because he's diligently applying it. And that's what's beautiful about it. So I got a quote that I wrote, and then we're going to go through these emails one by one. First quote, the quote says, leaders and those who are actually doing things that others only dream or talk about get attacked and questioned by those who are fearful and too weak to live their lives with the same kind of resolve, determination, and confidence that winners do. Success and your happiness is a direct result of taking action to get what you want and then letting go of any attachments you have to the way you think things should turn out. Mastering the art of letting go is essential to happiness, leadership, and staying in the present moment. It's like what Phil Jackson said in his book, 11 Rings. He said, leadership is not about forcing your will on other people. It's about mastering the art of letting go. Just one of the many reasons why Coach Phil Jackson, who now is the VP of the Knicks, New York Knicks basketball team, his nickname is the Zen Master, because he's obviously studied Zen and Buddhism, and obviously I have too, and it's a big part of what I teach. So back to the quote, it's being okay with any and all outcomes. Success is never a straight line to your destination. There will always be obstacles, setbacks, and failures that must be transcended and learned from in order to accomplish your grandest goals and dreams. Getting to your destination is glorious and rewarding, but learning to enjoy the journey and accept your present reality is what makes sustained fulfillment and happiness a possibility. Why? If you're only focused on the destination, happiness and fulfillment will only be temporary. It's kind of like, because most people, success is a moving target. And they say, well, when I have the perfect girl someday, then I'll be happy. When I have $1 million, then I'll be happy. When I have the bitchin' house, then I'll be happy. When I get that Ferrari, that really nice car, like, then I'll really be happy. It's like the guys that went to the moon. It's like, how do you fucking top that? Becoming one of the few people that have actually walked in the moon. You come back and like, then what? How do you top that? Or you go to the Olympics and you win a gold medal, and that's been your dream since you were a kid. The actual moment of winning the event and getting the gold medal, standing on the podium, it only lasts for a few minutes and then it's over. And then you're like, now what? So if your whole life is getting to that destination and then you achieve it, you're happy for a couple of minutes, and then what do you do now? Same thing, you win the Super Bowl or the NBA championship or the World Cup. It's only a temporary thing. So the key is to find joy and fulfillment in your journey of getting to the destination to where you want to be, because for any of you watching this that have achieved something that you wanted for a long time, you're happy, you're like, this is cool, but then you're like, now what? And to be successful, as most successful people are, it's you reach the top of the mountain and then you realize, holy shit, there's an even bigger mountain to climb. There's even bigger goals to take on and resolve to accomplish. With that being said, let's go through the first guy's email. It says, Dear Corey, your content is the best thing ever, and read everything you send me, and slowly I'm applying it to my life. I was wondering, though, if you could make a video of how to deal with people who make fun of you for going after your purpose in life. Well, if people are busting your balls about going after your purpose in life, remember, no one will ever do or say anything to you that isn't a direct reflection of how they feel about themselves in a moment. So if they're busting your balls about the fact that you're doing what you were put on this earth to do, what do you think that tells you about them? We tend to project what's inside of us. So if you're following your purpose and they're busting your balls about it, what does that mean? They ain't following their purpose. And that's what happens, because they're testing you. Because in your peer group, now you've risen above your peer group. You're doing something that most of your friends and family simply don't have the guts or don't have a game plan to do. That's why they're busting your balls. And at the end of the day, all they're really looking for when they're busting your balls is leadership. And that's what people tend to do, is they attack leaders because they don't believe in themselves. But if they attack that leader and that leader doesn't back down and he stays strong, kind of like what you're seeing if you're following the election with Donald Trump. I mean, I've never seen this amount of mud and shit slung at somebody before. It's unbelievable. And I love how he's just giving the finger to everybody. He's doing what he wants. And he's not getting deterred, even though people in his own party were like, you gotta resign, you gotta back down. And alpha male ain't gonna fucking back down. And in the end, if he ends up winning, which I think he will, then people will go, oh, wow, this is historic. This never happened before. Kind of like when Barack Obama won. People didn't believe it. People attacked him. Then after he did, he accomplished it. You got to give the guy fucking credit. He made it fucking happen. He was in the arena. So back to the email. He says, I enlisted in the British Infantry Reserves. Thank you for your service, by the way. After watching your videos on finding your purpose in life, and I realized it's what I love doing, so I applied for the Royal Marine Commandos full time. That's fucking great. The problem is, though, I'm now the laughingstock of the village. That shouldn't bother you at all. It just means your village is full of a bunch of fucking pussies, and you're a leader. What does the word lead mean? It means to go first. You're doing something that everybody in your village doesn't have the balls to do, which is follow your purpose. That makes everybody feel uncomfortable because you basically got a big giant fucking mirror and you're reflecting everything back to them about the fact that there's a bunch of fucking pussies, basically. So you're the leader. You're going first. You're doing what everybody else is too scared to do. There's nothing to feel bad about, dude. It's like what Sun Tzu said. He said, when you care about what other people think, you will always be their prisoner. All my friends are making fun of me behind my back, calling me Mr. Army Man and Rambo and shit like that when I'm not around. Who fucking cares? 20 years from now, probably most of those people that are your friends, you'll realize that they really weren't on your team. Think about the people in your life you're like, dude, I think that's fucking awesome. And there's probably only one or two people that are really supportive of what you're doing. And that's who's really on your team. Just remember that. And that's something I started learning in my 20s as I started succeeding and achieving and wanting more than the overwhelming majority of my high school buddies. I love those guys, but most of them, they just had no drive, no ambition to do the kind of things that I wanted to do with my life. I still care about them. I still talk to them. I still see them from time to time, but I don't hang out with them every single day. I don't talk to them every single day. Love your family, choose your peers. So it's very important because you are going to be like the 5 people who you spend most of your time with. So if you got people in your inner circle that are always busting your balls, they're going to get in the way of you reaching your full potential. So you need to be cognizant of who you're giving your time with, because at the end of the day, the greatest gift you can give anybody is a gift of your time. So stop giving it to people who don't appreciate it. Give them the gift of missing you. Go where you're loved and supported. Don't be hanging out with people who don't want you around or don't appreciate you. Hang out with people that are glad you're there. I don't go around bragging or trying to act hard, but I was supposed to be going ice skating this weekend with a Facebook social group, but the Army told me I was needed for Operation X Firestorm, so I told the Facebook social group I was going on exercise instead, which was a silly thing to do, I know, but my brother told me people were laughing their heads off at me in the pub last night. Well, they're getting drunk and you're holding the fucking line. That's what military men and women do. It's a noble calling. And the best people to serve in the military are people who feel like that's what they were put in this earth to do. They make the best soldiers because they really want to be there. So they're getting drunk and shit-faced, and you're following your purpose. It's not your fault they're a bunch of fucking pussies. It just hurts like a bitch when you want to improve your life and others want to drag you down, even when I could have to make the ultimate sacrifice for them. Well, one of our great generals from World War II, General George Patton, he said the object of war is not to die for your country, but to make the other bastard die for his. How do I deal with this? Don't spend time with them. Tell them you don't want to hear about it. If you're going to bitch like a bunch of manginas, I don't want to fucking hear about it. If everybody's in the pub from the village bitching about me, I don't want to fucking hear about it. Grab a fucking gun and jump, come on out in the fucking front line with me, otherwise just shut your fucking mouth. That's what you should say. Don't let it get under your skin. Hang out with people that are supportive, people who are like-minded and who want the same things. But like I said, what you're starting to get is you're getting that resistance because part of the thing is people fear they're going to lose you because you're doing something that they're not doing. And as you become more successful and you become more immersed in your career and following your purpose, you're going to spend less and less time with them because they're obviously not doing that and they're obviously not supportive. A year or two down the road, when you're really kicking ass and you're really proud of what you're doing, you'll have people go, I think it's really great. The ones that will attack you. It's just like what I experienced in every business I've ever started. Even my first business in real estate, my dad was like, oh, you're going to file bankruptcy. Oh, you don't want to do that. My father-in-law was like, oh, you're going to ruin your marriage. You go, nah, 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 nah. I was like, I don't fucking care. I got to do what I've dreamt about doing my whole life. And you can either support me or not. And of course, after I succeeded, I remember talking to my dad. He was like, I'm really proud of you. I was like, I think it was 28 or 29. That was the first time in my life my dad ever said, I'm proud of you. Because I didn't listen to him. I hadn't, at the end of the day, the best cure for people who are talking shit is winning and succeeding. That's the best way to shut people up. So go be awesome and don't worry about it. And spend your time with people that are supportive. So let's go to the second email. He says, hey, Coach Corey, I wanted to first say thank you so much for all your helpful advice and insights when it comes to dating, relationships, becoming the person you want to be. Your book, articles, and videos have been a tremendous help to me, improving my life and embracing my potential, so thank you. What is my purpose? It's what I do. My questions for you deal with the topic of love. I've read your book, currently on read number 2, and I've watched many of your videos, and I've read several of your articles on this subject. But I think I'm getting confused. Well, the good news is when you're confused, it means you're about to learn something. As to what love really means in your system. Well, it's not so much my system, what is love? Love is all about giving. Relationships start to go sideways when you start focusing on yourself. Remember, Thich Nhat Hanh, I never say that right. He says you must love in such a way that the person you love feels free. It's about giving. The whole purpose of all relationships is you go there to give, not just your intimate ones, but your friendships, your clients. I mean, my whole business model is based on giving and not expecting anything in return. All my videos are free. You can even read my book for free on my website. And if you want to get the audio version of my book, you can become an audible.com member and you can read it for free. And if you think it sucks, guess what? Tell Amazon it sucks and you don't want to pay for it. And you don't have to pay for it. But at the end of the day, it's just, I give away all my best stuff. The only thing you have to pay for is if you want to book a phone session or email coaching with me. But other than that, I give my best information away for free. So my whole business is based around giving. And that's a secret to why it's gotten so big and why I blow away what other people are doing in the life coaching industry. It's because it's all focused on adding value. Because even if somebody reads my book, or they go and they join the email list and they don't buy the Kindle or the audio edition, they might tell somebody. And then that person might buy it, or might click on an ad, or make a donation, or it's like, it all comes out in the end. I don't spend any money on advertising, so it all works out. Because the bottom line is when you give things away like that, the right people will show up and see value. And at the end of the day, even if you don't believe anything I say, if you apply things I teach, you see that it'll work for you. It's just as sure as the sun comes up in the east and sets in the west. I've got tons of emails and tons of videos I've done over the years from guys that said, initially I thought you were a total jackass and totally full of shit, but I listened to you and I did what you said and you were fucking right. How many people can do that? How many people can give all their best stuff away for free? How many websites have you seen with expensive memberships and CDs and DVDs and e-courses and all this other crap? And you got to go jump through your butt to find out their best stuff, and spend thousands of dollars, and you look back and you're like, what did I really get out of that? You only have to pay for my best information if you think it has value. If you don't, no harm, no foul. I care about helping people, and that's why it grows virally. I love the idea that when a man is, let me back up a little bit here. So he says, my questions are, he says, I'm currently on read number 2, and I watched many of your videos, and I read several of your articles on the subject, but I think I'm getting confused, and I love the idea that when a man is truly happy and content with himself, he only needs to rely on himself for that happiness. Yeah, because if you're not happy already, if you're single, you're not going to be happy in a relationship. You might be happy for about 6 months, but once you realize and you come to that place where you realize that you're not happy about your life, your girl can add a lot of happiness to your life, and you should look at it as like the dessert, the cherry on top, if you will. But if you're not already digging your life and having a great fucking time being by yourself, once the newness and the infatuation and the honeymoon's over, you're still the same unhappy person that you were before you met that person. And that's when things really start to go sideways for a lot of people. And whether the woman you're interested in comes into your life or leaves it, you'll be okay. What then makes a woman special? It's different from person to person. Some guys want to get married. Some guys want to date around. Some guys want to live with their girlfriend. Some guys just want to fucking hook up and pump and dump, if you will. Or it doesn't matter. Guys, when they're typically younger and they haven't, I have good people when they're young, they want to experience those things. And also when I coach people, I got people that are 50, 60 years old and they dated one person their whole lives because they married their high school sweetheart. And they want to rock out with their cock out for a couple of years. But at the end of the day, human beings are social creatures. We like to interact with other people. We're most happy, we're most fulfilled. And they're one of the oldest studies that has studied happiness and fulfillment and longevity, meaning living a long life. I mean, this study started, I think, in the 1920s, 1930s. And so they've been following these people throughout their whole lives. And what they realized is that people that had great quality relationships with friends and family and loved ones tended to live the longest and had the most happiness and fulfillment. And those that didn't, people that were butthurt and pissed off, they look at the members of the opposite sex as the enemy. Those are usually the ones that died really early because they just weren't fucking happy. If you're in a peaceful, relaxed state and you're grateful, that's a life-giving, life-enhancing vibration. If you're pissed off, you're angry, you're hateful, you're mad at the world, you feel like something's missing from your life, you're filling your body with negative energy and toxins, and eventually that will put you into an early grave. That's just a fact of life. That's what they've discovered. It is what it is. Why ever become attached to anyone? Well, like I said earlier, you must love in such a way that the person you love feels free. It's just like I was talking about the first guy's email. The right people will want to be in your life, and they will make a continuous, perpetual effort over the decades. Like now I'm 46, almost 47. I've got a handful of really great friends that no matter what, they always stay in touch. And I've always stayed in touch with them. Even sometimes we might go a few months or 6 months or whatever without talking, we get busy and caught up in lives. We all come back to one another, and we all appreciate and value one another, and we always have positive, uplifting things to say to one another. That's the common thread. Even the girlfriends that I'm still friends with that I dated many years ago. The ones that are loving, supportive, have a pretty easygoing attitude, that communicate like adults, those are the ones I keep in contact with. Those people are really rare. And you should really appreciate and hold on to those kind of people, and the rest of them can kind of go by the wayside, because the reality is people come and go. It's a fact of life. It is what it is. Don't try to keep people in your life who don't want to keep you in theirs. If a woman that you really love and care about ends up out of the picture and is supposed to be completely okay, then what did she truly mean to you? Again, love is about giving. Sometimes you might date somebody for a few years and it runs its course, and you're just, I don't want to be with them anymore. And that's okay. It happens. Sometimes you might date somebody, and then as you get further down the road, you realize if you're looking to be exclusive and monogamous, and they have a history of cheating and being unfaithful and lying and being devious, you can't expect somebody like that to all of a sudden decide they're going to be faithful, even though they say they want to be. The reality is you got to look at their actions and how they live. Look at what people do, not what they say. I've also been thinking a lot lately about the psychology of women, in particular how they respond to a man's vibe. I totally get that a man who is comfortable and centered in his masculinity will project a certain type of confidence that attracts women like a magnet. I see this in the real world all the time, and I'm working on perfecting it for myself. I also understand that when a woman senses weakness, she will test her man, and if he fails, will ultimately leave him for someone more centered. That's not what I teach in the book. Bottom line is women want to be in a love story. And when I coach men that are married or they're living with long-term girlfriends or somebody they've been dating for several years, 99.9% of them, they're already in therapy and counseling. And it's helpful, but the bottom line is that you could be going to see the best therapist in the world, but if you're not centered and masculine and doing what a man is supposed to do, and dating and courting your woman properly, eventually she's going to fall out of love and she's going to feel like you don't care. And most guys tend to focus on logic and reason and being a provider and making money, and they think once they're married or they're in a relationship that the courtship just slowly goes by the wayside. Like I said, 99.9% of the guys that come to me that are having problems in their long-term relationships, they've all stopped courting their wife and girlfriend and communicating and having fun. And that's what I help them get focused back on that, and also getting centered and focused on being that interesting guy that they were when they met and fell in love the first time around. So at the end of the day, if you start dating a woman and you're great for the first year or two, and then you get lazy, you get caught up earning a living, and you stop dating and courting her, and you're always like, oh, next month we'll go do something fun, eventually at some point she's going to get tired of asking and bringing it up. Because women look at what guys do. And if a guy says he loves her and cares about her, but he never takes her out and never dates her and never makes her feel special like he used to, eventually she's going to end the relationship. And women end relationships 75% of the time. That's reality. You don't date or court your woman, eventually some other guy is going to come along and date her for you and take her off your hands. Again, the whole purpose of all relationships is you go there to give. If you stop giving, which is in essence what most guys do that have problems in long-term relationships, Women are not going to stick around forever. It's just a fact of life. These ideas make me question the fidelity of women. Is there such a thing as a faithful woman? Some women, absolutely. That's their values. That's the kind of family they came from. They believe in that. That's how they operate. They place a high value on loyalty, communication, and commitment. I talk to guys constantly that are upset when they're dating a woman or in a relationship with a woman who's not faithful, who cheats, or who lies, and they're mad and they're pissed off that their woman is this way. And 100% of the time when I talk to them, it's like these women have a history of being this way. If you have somebody that's never been faithful in any relationship and always has lots of male orbiters around in case you fall down and they just go bounce to somebody else, those are great fuck buddies and friends with benefits or sex playmates. Those are not wife or relationship material. If you're looking to have an exclusive monogamous relationship, it's just not going to work long term with somebody that doesn't value loyalty, communication, and commitment. It is what it is. So again, you want a healthy long term relationship? Date somebody who has a good family, she loves her mom and her dad, and she has a good relationship with both of them, and she's always been faithful to everybody she's dated in the past. It's just men and women both. They try to change you there. Well, I'm so great that they'll be different. They'll be faithful to me. It's not going to happen. Again, I know that as a certain truth, just like the sun comes up in the east and sets in the west. And you can either take that on board or think that you're going to be different, and the bottom line is you will experience some pain eventually. I learned these things the hard way. Women are emotional beings, which means that they follow their feelings. How can you fully trust a woman to be a partner if she just follows her feelings, which is most likely to change every single day? It doesn't mean that every single woman is just going to leave you and cheat on you, but you got to make the effort. You always got to, the courtship never ends, dude. And again, obviously your email tells me that you want an exclusive monogamous relationship. So don't date women that place zero fucking value on it and have no history of being faithful to their partners. That's all. Women that are unfaithful and sleep around and cheat, they're great fuck buddies, friends with benefits. But if you think they're going to change, it's just not going to happen. I'm sorry. It's the way it is. So let's go through the third and final email. I saved the best for last. And one of the reasons why this guy's doing so well is, again, because he put the fucking time in. He's been following me for 2 years. 14 times he's been through the book. Repetition is the mother of skill. Confidence comes from successful repetition. And if you want to master the art of letting go and getting to where this guy is, which is where I am, I was sitting having lunch the other day by the lake where I live, and I'm always people watching. I'm always looking at body language and physiology, and I see things that most people just don't see. And I can tell when I see a couple where the guy's an alpha and the woman's an alpha, and they get it. I was just sitting there watching and observing. I saw 4 couples over the course of about an hour as I was sitting there just having my lunch and enjoying myself, enjoying the beautiful weather out. And I saw the guys all had the same thing. The guys were in pretty good shape. The women were in really good shape, very attractive, very feminine, very submissive, touchy-feely, all over their guys, holding hands. The guy was always slightly ahead as he was walking, and they had that air, the chest out, head back, just like I talk about in the video Body Language That Attracts Women. And if I was a betting man, I would say that all 4 of those dudes were very familiar with my work. Because I tell you what, I don't see that very often, where I see couples that emanate that physiology and that body language I talk about in my book. If I was a betting man, I'd be willing to bet that all 4 of those guys probably were very familiar with my work and were living it, because the women, beautiful, submissive, and the guys just had that, I don't give a fuck, I'm going to live my life. I love my girl, I adore her, I worship her, but she ain't going to walk all over me, and I ain't her fucking doormat. And it's beautiful, because it's very rare. I've read your book 14 times. So he says, I just wanted to give you a big manly bro hug for all the help that you have provided me with, as well as the monumental changes I've been able to accomplish using said help. I've read your book 14 times and I'm now on my 15th read. I originally sought you out after the girl I was dating 2 years ago, whom I naively believed was the love of my life. A little bit of one-itis there. Projecting your fantasy onto the person and ignoring the fact that she wasn't valuing you back. A lot of men and women do that. We all tend to do that. We tend to project our fantasy of what we want in the other person, and we think we're going to change them or they're going to become different if we just stay with them longer or we use the right strategy. But you can't make good wine from bad grapes. She pulled one over me and dumped me because I ran into a guy who strangely happened to be her ex-boyfriend, whom she was still fucking, and told me she had not contacted since their breakup. So obviously he was dating a woman who was a total fucking liar. And keep in mind, he was a virgin at this time. So he's hanging out with this girl, thinks he's dating her, this is going to be the love of his life. She's giving him no pussy. She's fucking her ex-boyfriend who supposedly is out of her life. So she's a fuck buddy. That's it. Friends with benefits, that's it. She ain't relationship material. But again, he's projecting his fantasy and ignoring the fact that the woman places zero value on it. That's why it's so important to know what your outcome is. What kind of a relationship do you want? That's one of the first things I ask men and women both when I'm talking to them about dating or relationships or pickup skills. I'm always like, what is your outcome? What kind of relationship do you want? And based on what their answers are, then that's what I help them get focused on, the characteristics and the qualities of the kind of person that they should date or be with so they can have the kind of experience they want. She acted just like you said and sabotaged the relationship when she realized that her trickery, which she pulled over the ex and myself, was about to blow up in her face. Well, if you know my book backwards and forwards, these kinds of things don't happen because you can spot these kind of people just like that. But obviously this woman is what led into my work originally. She then proceeded to go after my best friend relentlessly. Really nice girl. She had said my friend was short, unattractive dude, and that she could never see herself with a man like him. Ah, the trickery. She was a devious woman who lied incessantly and did not have sex with me because she was insecure of her unshaven vagina. So she looked like she had buckwheat in a leg lock? The ex was draining all her life with his cock. That sucks, dude. Being an inexperienced virgin, and that she was the hottest, most awesome woman I had ever attracted, I believed her. Again, you always look at what somebody does, not what they say. Following that, I'm just thinking about the unshaven vagina. It's like, God, I had a lot of hair, man. Following that, I sought out an answer to a statement she gave me after she created an argument just prior to dumping me. I need space. I Googled that term on Google search, and I landed on your video. She says she needs space. Your hilariously honest and kindly enthusiastic approach really resonated with me, and I decided to see what you were all about. From there, I read your book 4 times, and I managed to move on from that girl. At my friend's birthday party, there was a smoking hot blonde girl with whom my friend and I decided that he would be sleeping with since it was his birthday. Little did I know that she had ulterior motives of her own. I was being my goofy, wild self, breaking my slick dance moves, and just being the life of the party, totally sober. She was blown away by this, and when my friend proceeded to make his move, she rejected him because she wanted to have a taste of my beautiful testicles in her mouth. Using your 1 step forward, 2 steps back method, I managed to have her beg me to fuck her on the bathroom floor, to which I obliged and pounded away with the force of 1,000 sexually repressed North Korean teenagers. That's pretty fucking good, dude. Before entering her, I saw your face, oh man, and you telling me, good job, no homo, dude. I had lost my virginity, a deed that had been so elusive to me up until then. That's awesome, dude. I'm so fucking proud of you. Today I have women hitting me up everywhere. I have a great job that I love. I have a great body, more money than I ever had, and I love myself unconditionally. He included a bunch of photos. He looks really fucking happy, and he's got that fucking look about him. He's got that aura. A peaceful, relaxed, fulfilled, abundant dude. I no longer fuss about women who aren't into me and genuinely feel sorry that they were blind enough not to see my awesomeness. Fucking A, guys like you, very rare, dude. And women really appreciate when they come across a guy who's a 3% man, like those 4 ladies that I saw hanging all over their dudes at the lake the other day. I cannot thank you enough for all that you have done for me. I will skip all the makeouts, invitations for hookups, constant hitting on me that I encounter in my everyday life. I have attached a picture of myself, my new car, and a big thank you for all that you have done for me. I still watch your videos daily, and I aim at 20 reads prior to the year's end. I have an abundance of women, and I feel like the man I have always wanted to be, James Bond. Well, at least from the pictures he sent, he's fucking living the dream, dude. I'm fucking proud of you. Great job. I get complimented on my walk, straight back, and tilted head, which I have fashioned after yourself, Denzel Washington, Idris Elba, and my father. My clothing style, which is a representation of myself, makes women drool due to its distinctive flavor, which has an I don't give a fuck attitude, and most of all, I don't even contact these women at all. Well, just like the video I did a few weeks ago, reasons why women chase. If you do the things in my book, you don't have to worry. Women never dump guys that they're chasing and can't get enough of. And if a woman is chasing and pursuing you, it means she's really happy and she really loves being with you, and that's her reward for you treating her properly. And that's why she blows off all the other dudes throwing their dicks at her, because she knows she's got a real man, obviously you. They message me after the very first dates and tell me that there is something about me that is extremely alluring, that confidence and centeredness. Because it's very rare that they encounter. Like I said, I sat out there for an hour, and I must have seen probably 400 or 500 people walk by me, and I saw a total of 8 people that were happy. Obviously, the 4 guys and their 4 girls. It's a very rare thing in this world. So when a woman finds a guy that understands the stuff that I teach, she'd be all over your fucking ass. She won't let you go. I owe you so much, Coach, and I'm privileged to have crossed paths with you. I told my friends about you. However, they have yet to read your book and wonder why they continuously struggle to have choices with women. Well, again, it's like people won't change their belief system until they metaphorically hit the wall, if you will. And obviously, that's the way self-help is. And it was one of the reasons why I had such a hard time in the beginning when I started out about 11 years ago, figuring out the right way to market my book, because it was the type of information that every guy should want to read. But again, unless guys are in pain and they're going through a difficult time, they're not open to learn these things. They're just going to keep plugging along with their way until they realize it doesn't work for them. These friends have the biggest excuses, such as they are pursuing their passions, which is amazing, yet they cannot make the time to read a small book such as yours and reap the rewards. One of the biggest excuses that people have about whatever it is, changing their job, getting in shape, getting a new lover, eating better, is always, oh, I don't have the time. I don't have the time. It's like they got their reasons ready to go. It's like, don't waste your fucking time. Just live and be a great example. I love them to death, but I no longer can care for their success to the point that I did, because this care became a nuisance to my peace of mind. You shouldn't care about other people's success more than they do. Something I learned early on in coaching. They're smart guys, and they will wise up sooner or later. Some of them won't. Some of them will just settle, and they'll be miserable their whole lives, and they'll die. They'll go to an early grave. To all the skeptics, Corey Wayne is the truth, and follow what he teaches. It costs you nothing and gives you everything. I will be making a big-ass fucking donation. Donations are always appreciated, and if you're so inclined, you can go to my website and press the donate button at the bottom of the toolbar on any page. Whatever convenience permits, and I want you to know that you have served as a surrogate father to me, as my own father has been living across the world for the last 11 years. I'm honored that you would think of me that way. I appreciate that. There are no excuses, guys. I'm a dark-skinned black male with an accent from Africa, and I think I am the best thing since sliced bread. Women treat me accordingly. Well, obviously, dude, because you're a fucking 3% man. Great job, dude. I'm fucking proud of you. And for those of you who'd like to get my help personally, you can go to my website, click the products tab at the top of your screen on any page of my website, and book whatever coaching option works best for you. And I will talk to you soon.